I'm not sure if y'all want a 7-minute video, but I've posted this video with no voiceover, no music or anything. A few people watched it, but this time I figured I would comment a few. So I'm pushing this thing through this wall where I've got the stud shoe to help support that 2x4 from the hole that I just made in it. So it's really reinforced a whole lot. And I've got 8 nails on the sides and 2 nails on the back. And then on the other side, I'll be putting a smaller nail plate like the ones we would do if there's just water lines going through the wall. But since we got the big pipe going through the wall, we like to add these stud shoes, or we like to double up the studs and drill through both, attaching both studs together. But with this one, I can just go straight up with my vent. Besides that stud shoe, there's another one in the same house that I'm doing, which I did the same way. And I'm doing this to avoid, messing around with where the light might go, which where my hand is there with the strap, that's the side where they'll be putting the light. On my next lav that we're about to do here, you'll see that I'm going to have to put a 45 on it to get up to that hole. I dropped my fitting and grabbed a piece of foam, and it kind of looks funny. But I normally put my lavatory height at 21 inches, and then our water lines go below that around 19 inches on the center. So I'm marking that 21, and I'm visually looking at the center of it, and then I'll mark the underside of that hub. And then now I can go between the fitting that's down below the floor already, and I'll measure that, and we come up with this pipe length. I like doing all my plumbing from downstairs to upstairs, but I like to come upstairs at the very first start of the house, and I lay out everything upstairs first, and I go ahead and do my holes first upstairs, and then I go ahead and put the floor flanges down onto the floor, and I'm just putting those down with the purpose of having to not have to come back upstairs and do it again later. But then after I finish everything downstairs, I come upstairs. So you can see it's down below the floor there, and it's waiting for me. I got it supported well. And so when I push this pipe inside there, all glued up and primed up, everything's going to be fine and dandy. I've tried it the other way for about a year and a half, or maybe even more, where I did this portion of the job first, which obviously I wouldn't be gluing the bottom of the pipe in yet. It'd just be sticking below the floor. Well, when I was doing that, it was a lot harder for me to get everything aligned easy. So when you're trying to put a 2-inch long sweep underneath of your lavatory after it's stuck in place, especially on an outside wall, it can be very difficult. I hope that some of y'all have felt my pain on that. Working your way from upstairs to downstairs and having a hard time putting your lavs, together. But this pipe that I'm putting in now, I always measure the same height off of my stuff, and you might need to change it if you are putting your height of your lavatory at a different height. But with mine being at 21 inches, I can add a 32-inch pipe to the top, and that'll be well above the flood level rim. So if I could stop stuttering all over this, and if you could just hear me whistle, things might be all right. Put both of these 45s together at the same time. I mean, one at a time, but I put them together as an assembly. And what I'll do is either use the side of the stud there, or I may even use the floor, which mainly I am using the floor. So I've already used the floor. Then I wipe it all off, and I've got to get my next pipe size here, which I love to visually cue that piece, or I'll just add a 3/4 of an inch if I'm, not being so anal. I like putting my letters towards me as I'm looking at it, and that way when people look at my work, they'll see the lettering, and I might even put it, in the same direction as I'm going up. But just visually looking to make sure that that thing's inside that wall, and then throw your strap on. Put that weight into it. I'm a weak person. That stuff's like right there at my head height. It's supposed to be mid strap, midway. But since I, little shorty over here, putting my test caps on so we can do a test. At the end of the job, we put put the water test on there. There'll be a 3-inch arm off of one of my lavatories, and it'll be 3 inches above the 90, and then, I'm sorry, 3 feet. It'll be 3 feet above the 90, and we'll fill that up with water, and it'll put pressure on the system, and if we have any leaks, then it'll just pop up. Little 2x1.5 test caps. I'd point out on here that you want to be careful on the other side of this pipe, right there where the hub's sticking out of the wall. You put a lot of extra primer on that part, and then when the guy goes to put his discussion on there, you'll end up seeing the primer. If you've got to use purple primer and you don't use the clear primer that you have to have the light for, then you just want to be a little careful with that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to put one more test cap on here, and after that, then I'm going to be doing the vent system. So we're working this up, and as the vents go up, I'm going to be pointing out a few things about them. There's the two that we just did. Over there was the other one that's very similar. It'll come around, it'll tee in here and tee into there, and then go out the roof there. So it upsizes after the first one and turns into a 2-inch pipe. Then it hits this pipe, and that'll be 2-inch going straight up and out the roof, which I